We're back now at 7:40 with the man wrongly pursued by the FBI in connection with the anthrax attacks that terrified this nation in the weeks and months after 9/11. Several members of Congress and media outlets, including NBC, received tainted letters. 5 people died, 17 others were sickened. Now, for the first time, Dr. Stephen Hatfill is speaking out about what he was forced to endure. Dr. Stephen Hatfill had worked as a scientist at the U.S. Army's Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases at Fort Detrick, Maryland, which holds stores of anthrax. When the FBI started investigating the deadly attacks, it looked at more than 1,000 people. He wasn't surprised to be one of them. Did you volunteer to take the polygraph, or did they ask you?
They asked if I would, and I said, sure.
Yeah, no, that would be a moment that would get my blood going a little bit, or at least my heartbeat going.
No, I think this is just standard.
No reservations about that whatsoever?
No, why?
What kind of questions do they ask you? Any of them jump out at you?
Sort of mundane things.
They didn't come right and say, did you kill people with anthrax?
No, actually I got upset with them, with all these mundane, you know, did you ever cheat on a test type things? And so, why don't you just ask me? And the guy said, yeah, okay. And that was the end of it.
But unlike the others, he became the focus of the investigation after 2 outside sources said he fit the profile of the anthrax killer. For the next 5 years, Hatfill's life would be turned upside down.
Imagine being the fox chased by the hounds. And I think you begin to get an idea of what it was like for Stephen Hatfill.
On June 25, 2002, Hatfill's name became very public. The FBI said they wanted to take some tests at his home. Feeling he had done nothing wrong and had nothing to fear, he agreed.
Well, we'd like to do some swabs. It'll be very discreet, quiet.
You signed the consent form?
Sure.
You got home later that day?
No, I walked out in the parking lot and there were already news cameras filming me walking to the car. And they were taking me back to the apartment, and then the whole news thing was out there, and the helicopters and all this.
Didn't you say to one of the FBI agents, you know, how did this get leaked? Or didn't that person say to you, someone must have leaked this to the media?
I can't remember the exact comment, but I said, you know, what's going on here? And, well, it got leaked. What a performance.
When you say what a performance, they were lying to you.
I'm watching this on television, and there's guys in hazmat suits. I mean, what a show. And apparently that's what it was, a show.
A show that was watched by Americans on live TV with no concrete evidence. Stephen Hatfill was now public enemy number 1. Can you try to describe for me what happens over the next several years when you are now under surveillance constantly by the FBI and under the scrutiny of the media?
It just never seemed to end.
When you say they're following you everywhere you go, is it like in a bad movie where they're in a van peeking out of a side window, or are they just obviously...
No, right behind you.
So they're making it clear to you, we are watching every move you make.
Sure. It just became a way to harass. Or you would go into a restaurant and they'd sit down on either side of you.
How'd you react to that?
You keep thinking, well, this will end. Somebody will, you know, come to their senses.
It's all a mistake.
Yeah.
In August 2002, Attorney General John Ashcroft took the unprecedented step of naming Hatfill a person of interest in the anthrax killings.
He's a person that the FBI has been interested in.
The scrutiny cost Hatfill his job and every aspect of his privacy. You can't go anywhere without them following you. You can't have a candid phone conversation because you have to assume they're listening to every word you say.
Yeah. I think by the time the FBI come and see you, I think your phone's already been done. Which, you know, if the law says they can do that, then fine.
How long did this disaster last for you?
It'll last forever.
What about friends? During the heat of this, when the spotlight was the brightest on you, did you lose friends? Were people afraid to associate with you?
No, and what upsets me, I don't know of any law that permits the FBI to go by your closest friends and say you're not to associate with Dr. Hatfill. You're not to see him or talk to him. What they're trying to do is socially isolate you as part of the stress.
Trying to make you snap.
Yeah, intentionally.
In 2007, the FBI was able to track the deadly strain of anthrax used in the attacks to a supply kept by Dr. Bruce Ivins, who worked at the same Army lab as Dr. Hatfill. As investigators closed in, Ivins took his own life. His family maintains his innocence. Case closed, says the FBI. Given what you've told me, Steve, about your now complete lack of confidence in the Justice Department and the investigation they conducted surrounding you, do you think they got it right now?
Matt, I have no way. I haven't seen the data. Obviously, the FBI haven't felt it necessary to share anything with me. I have talked to some senior scientists that I trust and respect. I have to take their opinion. Yeah. Other than that, I can't say.
What's your feeling about the way the Justice Department treated you?
I learned a couple things. The government can do to you whatever they want. They can break the laws, federal laws, as they see fit. You can't turn laws on and off as you deem fit. And the Privacy Act laws were put in place specifically to stop what happened to me. I used to be somebody that trusted the government. Now I really don't trust anything.
You settled with the Justice Department, a legal settlement for a lot of money. And this may sound trivial to you, but did they ever apologize?
Somebody phone me up and say, we're sorry?
Yeah, we screwed up.
No, they don't do that.
The falsely accused have often asked the question, where do I go to get my reputation back? Where does Stephen Hatfill go?
I was fortunate that about halfway through this mess, I had a band of brothers. And they never left my side. I still work with them to this day. Patriots, soldiers, highly decorated men. And that gives you the strength just to be in their company, to carry on.
Sounds to me like you wouldn't have made it without them.
No. No, I doubt it.
While he was never formally cleared after being labeled a person of interest, the government's multi-million-dollar settlement would seem to speak for itself. You can read more about Hatfill's story in the May issue of The Atlantic Monthly.
So chilling how easily that can happen.
He said he used to drive his car. They would be right behind him and just follow him everywhere, and they would even pull him over for routine traffic stops, just give him tickets for ridiculous things. I mean, he says his life was really turned upside down.
Well, you can see it still is. I mean, when he talks about it, there's the pain in his face. My gosh.
That's true.